There we go. Hey, good morning, stream. It is January 11th, 2018. My name is Jeff Fritz. Welcome back to the live coding stream. I'm not sure how this is going to go today. We had my friend Glenn Condren booked to help out, do some pair programming today, and like many of us, including me, on Tuesday, he started coming down with something last night. He isn't sure if he's going to be able to make it. So we'll give it the best try here. So good morning to everybody that's online, chiming in and out there watching. I'm looking forward to a good stream today. I see that we've got a number of contributions out there from folks. I've put together a couple things. I want to show you what I've done, and then I want to move forward and start building some more cool stuff here. So, music in the background. Is that a little loud? I think it might be a little loud. Let me just dial it back just a smidge. There, how's that? Let's see. Good afternoon from Brazil. Hey, Cryptrix, good to see you. Afternoon, Jeff. Hey, DJ Vortex, great to see you. And Bruno, all good. Watch some of the stream. Oh, Bruno, do you have a stream too? Oh, that's great. And good morning, Isaac. Oh my gosh. Hello, hello. Full English next time for Bruno. Oh gosh. That sounds like it. That sounds like a good thing. Being able to show a little bit that is non-English to some of our programming friends that aren't English first speakers. All right. Hey, Crankinator. Good to see you. So, first things first. This is, once again, music to code by. If you can hear it, let me know how it sounds back there. This is from my friend Carl Franklin. Great music that gets you in the groove to be able to code better. Scientifically designed, right? Check it out, musictoflowby.com. You can get a great app that'll play this. This is called Blue that you're hearing. It's one of my favorites. All right, hats. This is a new hat my daughter recommended, and gosh, look at that. It looks like I've got a hole in my head because it's the same color as my chroma key. Check that out, the G and the E. That's kind of cool. So my daughter, my fashion consigliere. See how that works there? If there's one thing that I've learned in being married and having two daughters, is when ladies tell you to try wearing something different, or they have an opinion about what you're wearing, listen to them. They know what they're talking about. So I was out last night, out at the mall, and she said, "Dad, that's a hat that you got to wear. I know how much you love Doctor Strange, how much you look like Doctor Strange." Yeah, a little bit, I guess. Certainly got the goatee for it. So this is the Doctor Strange hat, and it's even got a cool Doctor Strange brim there. You can see the Doctor. So, pretty cool. I'm wearing this thanks to my daughter. So, and look at that, Carrie Payette. Hello, Carrie. Good to see you. I'm assuming it's Carrie. I actually do. I actually do what? I do look like the Doctor? Look at that. A little bit. So yes, I do look a bit like the Doctor. I like to say that Benedict Cumberbatch looks a little bit like me. See how that works? Almost the weekend. Jeff addicted. Ah, that's nice. All right. So that's today's hat. And I really enjoyed that movie. That was a great movie with Benedict as the good doctor. Let's see what else. So we've talked about the hats. We talked about Glenn might or might not be along. I have Skype open. If he joins us, that's great. If not, no problem. We'll get him back on next time. But he's a little under the weather. Oh, and a big shout out to my friends in Sandusky, Ohio at CodeMash. CodeMash is a giant conference. They're almost taking over the entire town there now. But it's at an indoor water park, the great Kalahari Water Park out there. And you might think, a water park in January in Cleveland. It is a really cool technical event out there. A lot of folks, they're taking over and they're housing people at other hotels there. But it's an indoor water park, tremendous resort, lots of fun. I've been there to speak a couple times. Decided not to this year because I have an event that I'm working on for the end of this month, and I didn't want to stack my schedule. So, best of luck to my friends out there at CodeMash. Hope you're having a great time. I'm not wearing a CodeMash shirt, but I am wearing the latest Star Trek shirt that I have. I spoke at that conference so Star Trek is another Ohio-based conference. Actually, Carrie helps out with that one. Held at a movie theater, and they try and lead up to a cool sci-fi or fantasy movie. The year that I spoke at it was right before Captain America's Civil War. So that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed my time visiting and at that conference. They are doing, I think the call for papers is out right now for Star Trek. So if you're a speaker and you want to go to Ohio, check them out. And they're leading up to Infinity War, right? The Avengers Infinity War movie this time. So they rent out an entire movie theater. Really great event. Star Trek is the best. There you go. Organic IT, I keep coming here and hoping Jeff will play Minecraft. Isn't this Twitch? Actually, I do have a Minecraft skin that was created for me where I look like a little blue ninja. And I have a Minecraft server that I do maintain. The first keynote that I gave on behalf of Microsoft as a Microsoft employee, I showed how to upload a Minecraft server, all the content for it, into Azure Storage, mount that storage on a VM, and launch a Minecraft server. Now it's really easy to do. So, and there's actually some really cool tools that we have out there to help teach kids how to build with Minecraft and how to program. Really easy. I might have to look into doing some of that at some point in the future here. All right. Enough blabbing. Let's do some coding, right? That's what we came here for. And I am thrilled to see that I got a pull request. I think it's a pull request I got from Bruno. Let's take a look-see here. I'm going to get over to GitHub and change the scene. There we are. There's 2 Jeff Fritzes on the screen. That's kind of a scary thing. All right. So, I don't think there was anything new in configuration builders, and we'll take a look at Epic Build Music. But I know there's new stuff in StreamTools, and we'll see if we have any new questions in the live stream. I hope you all like it. We'll be the judge of that. And ASP Travelers, this is the sample project for my book, Learn ASP.NET Core in 24 Hours. If you're interested in learning ASP.NET Core and you'd like having a Dead Tree version or even a Kindle version, you can check that out. David OIE? Welcome, David. And thank you, Steve. Always a pleasure to see you first thing in the morning here, Steve. So, and gosh, taking a look at the gauges up there at the top. This is great. 408 followers. We are closing in on our goal. When I get to 500, I will host an ASP.NET Core 8-hour workshop live here on the stream. We'll actually follow the contents of the ASP Traveler sample here. We'll go through that. So if you want to buy the book, you want to follow along that way, you'll be able to do that as well. Special shout out to the PowerShell people yesterday for GAing PowerShell Core 6. Hey, that's pretty cool. Absolutely. A David O.I. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Good afternoon from Romania. Good afternoon. Great to see you. Thanks for joining. And hope we can learn something together here. So, the code here, this ASP Travelers, this is, like I said, the sample project. Check out the book if you want some directions how to go through there. This is how you can tell this is a live stream, right? Look at, how dare you? All right. When GitHub doesn't load, and we depend on GitHub. Oh yeah, all streams 100% my foot. Oh. Oh. Quick, somebody get a screenshot. What are you doing to me? That's Twitter fodder if I've never seen it. I tell you. All right, let's check the Twitters. Because this is going to make things really interesting if... Bye-bye, GitHub. Bye-bye. All systems 100%. Bye-bye. Normally. Oh no. I'm having problems. And cool pink unicorns keep showing up. Here, let's go back over here. Let's move this up here. I'm going to open the snipping tool because I'm going to have some fun with our friends. Same problem here. Oh no! Too far. All right. There we go. Now we can do this. All right, see, I've got me and the unicorn. We'll just save that. Sure. Angry at GitHub unicorn. Because I've got a great pull request out there I want to include. Let me put me back in the corner here. This was just working for us a little bit ago, Bruno. All right, now I can close this, go to this, and I should be able to bring this in from... Look at all those pictures of me! So I actually have a folder on OneDrive called Me. That's how egotistical I am. Angry at the GitHub unicorn. There we go. All right. Let's see what they say. P.S. to pick its nose. Let's see. Let's go back over here. Let's see if my tweet's showing up. There it is. There you go. Nope. Nope. Ugh, feels bad, man. Jeff broke GitHub. I know! Do we now have a Fritz effect for GitHub? It's all that. I am staying between my remote software engineer job and your presentation. What did I do with GitHub? Well, it wasn't me. All I did was say, hey, friends. Let's see. That's from our point of view. There we go. Now we're getting some... Oh, we can look at this. Philly words. Yeah. They're... In Philadelphia, we have a funny way of talking. Funny way of talking. And there's some interesting pronunciations we have for words, but I don't want to spend my time on that with you today, and I don't want to spend my time looking at a unicorn. Ugh. Ugh. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. Who needs GitHub? We have Dropbox. If you hold down F5, it'll make it come back faster. Maybe. And Bill Wagner out there is saying he's having the same problem with GitHub. Oh, GitHub status. We are investigating reports of service unavailability. Oh, and I'm getting some of my friends at CodeMash now. Let's see. Right, let's look at... You should just overlay a picture of myself over the unicorn. That's not bad. Wait, need to bring... Hang on. I got it. Here we go. Right, and do this down here. Something like that. Since I already did 6 hours of work today with C# and Angular. Sorry about that. Alright. Let's get that lined back up. Alright. Turn to the side a bit and look down. First Slack, now GitHub, the world is falling apart. I know. Contact support link isn't working either. Yeah, okay. There we go, let's do this. I'm live on stream and showing how cool GitHub is for issue management, and poof! Unicorn! And then I'll, of course, provide a link to the stream. So I actually put together some short addresses. If you go to Mixer, jeffreyfritz.com, or you can go to Twitch, jeffreyfritz.com, it'll take you right to the stream. I'm going to route people to Mixer with this one. Let's see what else is happening. Ironically, contact support. Yep, here we go. Alright, we'll let that stew out there for a little bit. Nope. Alright. Intel bug. Maybe? I don't know. Alright. Here's what I'm going to do. We should think for a way to sell this, as we did a full research on how to bring down GitHub. Let's report that to Barry Dorns. And we'll let Barry figure that out. And our friends over there at GitHub, I'm sure they're going crazy right now. I need a hotline phone right here. I can just pick up and have Phil Hack on the other end of the line. Phil, fix GitHub. No. Yeah. All right. So here's what we're gonna do to work around this. Carrie caught it. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. I gotta make this my background. This is great. C# Fritz, the fail unicorn. That is amazing. Oh my gosh. This is my new favorite error page. And I'm gonna let the team know. Because it's just that fun. Lady Nagaga. Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you, Carrie. Oh, that's amazing. I need to make that like the wallpaper for the YouTube channel. It looks like Lance McCarthy. It looks like I need an issue tracker for your issue tracker. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is hysterical. Love it. Just terrific. Thank you, Carrie. That's great. Oh, look at that. And yep. Seriously, I need to save this. I don't want to set it as my background, but I gotta save this. That's just too good. Alright. Sorry, everybody. This one is on me, probably. On Duncan Kruger. Submitted my first GitHub PR today. And was refreshing too much to see if it'll get accepted. And Carrie knows. Oh, yes, Carrie does know Reverend Geek. David Neal. Yes. So, love that picture. Oh, man. Status GitHub messages. Oh, we've got a status now? Don't tell me I'm on that. We are investigating reports. All right. We've had some fun. We should create one for the team. Yeah, put that on the .NET page. You work with David Neal. David's amazing. And the only reason I'm not using... David Neal does these great caricatures of folks. You've probably seen them, some of the folks in the .NET and JavaScript communities. He made a great one for me. I haven't started using it just because I'm hoping that one day Twitter will give me the blue check mark. Really great guy, David Neal. So I've tremendous speaker, tremendous teacher. Right? Do I have? I'm trying to think. Where do I have it? I want to share that real quick here. I thought. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I've got too many pictures of me looking like the Winter Soldier because when I go outside I have to wear a ski mask. I don't see it. Alright, I want to get into the code. Oh, and you've been told that, yes, there is a bacon thing going through our community. So, love that picture. Yeah, that's too good. All right. So we're not going to deal with, we're going to work around GitHub today, and we'll come back. So Bruno, we'll come back to your pull request another day. Maybe later on today we'll get GitHub back up and running. All right. So here's what I want to do. There was a request. We had a request at the end, during our session on Tuesday, to put together an editor config file to kind of help enforce some of the code standards that I've been writing with as I've been building and working with this. So I did. I put one together, and I've pushed it out there. And I put a couple of simple things in here. Let me just talk for a second about what this is, what it does, and we can take a look at some of the things going on here. So an editor config file allows you to specify coding standards, formatting, different tools. Azazio, thank you for the follow. You heard we were talking about editor config, it had to click follow. Thank you. I kid. So this enforces some of those coding standards, some of the formatting things that you may want in your project. So Visual Studio, it enforces the contents of editor config, as does a number of number of other editors do as well. Editor, spell it right, Jeff. Editorconfig.com. This is a standard that Microsoft didn't develop, but has jumped onto and said, we'll enforce that too. That's a great standard. We'll adhere to it. And there's simple things there like tabs versus spaces. How do we want to indent our lines? And of course, we all know the answer is tabs. Right? Am I right? So there's tabs, and then there's... No, don't do that. And the size of your spaces, if you're going to use spaces to do your indents, whether your end of lines should be line feed, carriage return, or carriage return line feed, as we have on Windows. Character set, trim trailing white space, and then there's other things that I know. We'll get there. Oh, geez, look at this. I've started a war. Next thing I'll talk about VI versus Emacs. So a bunch of these different services, different tools, they just work with it, including Visual Studio and WebStorm. I thought Visual Studio Code does a little bit with it as well now. But Atom, brackets, you can get a plugin. Oh, Visual Studio Code has a plugin. There it is. I thought this might have been bundled with it. But you'll get some warnings, you'll get some help from the editor if you aren't adhering to the various standards. And in full Visual Studio, we actually added some of those things that you want, that you used to do with FX Comp, right? To check and say, you should always use a var when you're declaring variables if it's clear exactly what's going on here. We put those additional features we extended and we put in here, and we extended editor config in a way that it won't break if you open that editor config in another editor, right? They'll just ignore those other settings. There we go. Code does with the plugin. Let me just review in the chat room here. Editor config equals instant follow. All right. Tabs for the win. Yes. Uh-oh. No tabs, and tabs are the best. First GitHub, now tabs versus spaces. I know. We're getting all controversial here today. And actually, my friends on the Cloud Developer Advocate team are having they're having meetings right now with Scott Guthrie in Seattle. And if they knew I was using GitHub instead of VSTS, we might have a problem. I go with the team. There you go. Team player. That's what I like, Bruno. VS Code, yes. Git Bash now can use Notepad++. VI never again. Ugh. I grew up on VI. I turned 16. I started programming classes, and my old man gave me a VI editor cheat sheet, and I kept that thing for years. So we're looking to migrate to VSTS from TFS 2010. Okay, cool. And there's a link. You know what? I can't really open links like that here from my end. Vim is happiness. I grew up. Nah, not really. I'm a Toys R Us kid. Yeah. Light versus dark theme. I like the dark theme, but when I'm doing demonstrations and I want to make sure that you can see my code in a standard way, I'm going to show it to you with the light theme. But I prefer to use the dark theme, and I even use the dark theme in Visual Studio Code because that's the default. I want to make sure that people see and they're familiar with the defaults. That's why I also don't have too many extensions installed. I don't install ReSharper or CodeRush, anything like that. Vim is happiness. That's what the GitHub status page should add. It should add Vim is happiness. It should add me. That's what it should add. What do we have here? We've got some more notifications. Looks like GitHub went down, at least in my region. I guess the reverse proxy returns a 502. All right. Cool. Love it. So, editor config, in order to make things a little bit easier, a little bit friendlier when we check in and, try and make sure that everybody's formatting their code similarly, I'm now using this feature inside of our project. And Visual Studio actually does some pretty cool things with how it enforces it. Because this editor config, let me show you where it lives here. Because it lives in my root folder, right? There it is. Visual Studio will actually enforce it for all the projects that live in this folder and below. So all files that it sees, it will enforce these settings. So I've included it as a solution item over here, just so I know it's there and it's easy for anybody to jump into and help tune some of the settings. The contents of the file, root equals true. This is a standard setting. Actually, everything from here up are standard settings in editor config. The star says enforce these for all files. End of line is character turn line feed, because I'm on Windows primarily. Indent style is tab. Fight me. Kidding. Totally kidding. And trim trailing white space. I don't need your extra white space at the end of the line. That feels bad. Let's see. When you live in a Linux terminal, yep. And I don't yet. I need to work on that. Resharper is cool. I want Rider to raise. Rider's an interesting project. The folks at JetBrains did great work with Resharper, and they're building their own editor called Rider. I like seeing a competitor for Visual Studio because I think it'll make both of us better. So that's a pretty cool thing. All right. So this is my very simple editor config file. I want to prefer var for all of my variable declarations. If you're declaring a variable inside of a method, inside of a block, use var, especially for built-in types or when the type is apparent. And if you aren't, I am going to throw an error. I think that's fair. So let's just see what that looks like here real quick. I'm not even working on that project yet. I should remove it from here. Let's get rid of some of these other things. No. Yeah, let's just tinker with startup. Put something down here. Right? Just because I like to break things. Public void foo. Right? And if I say string test equals, right? Look at that. I get a red error.
Developers.
M. Kenyon. Is it M. Kenyon 2? Thank you. I appreciate the follow. And thank you, Steve. Good to see you this morning. So you'll get a little error message here, and if I can do a control period to pop open what the light bulb has there for me, and it'll tell me the preference, and it'll even show me an error code. And if I want, I can go fix all occurrences throughout the project, the solution. So if I say var, it knows what it is, and it'll just set that. Resharper is cool. Blah, blah, blah. I must be getting old. I prefer my variables explicitly typed. So here's the thing, right? I could say new string, right? You can't new a string, can you? Right, if I do test. Why am I not getting a new string there? String to car plus. I should be able to do that. No. Will it still compile since it's an error and not a warning? Let me come back to that. There was an issue to do something with Discord or chats and live streams. Not much info in there. If you can explain it a little on how we would use it. Haven't touched that yet, and let me come back to that discussion in just a little bit, because I had an interesting discussion with another one of the viewers, another one of the folks here, with J.R. Cook, and he made some good points there. When the string is explicit like this, and I say string, it should throw the error, right? If I say rebuild solution, you can't see it but back there behind me, it's restoring, it's doing all the things. There's that. And where's my output window? It succeeded in building. Let's build one more time. But it's not breaking the build, right? It's showing up as an error, but it's not breaking the build, which I can go either way on that. I thought there was a way to get it to break the build. Edit or config. That's the format of it. I thought there was a thing with with features on this. Let's go back over here. Visual Studio Editor, config, break build. Yeah, I thought we did add support to have a build break. GitHub is back up. Hey, cool. All right. So there it is. Its rules will override what's in Visual Studio Tools options. Mats Christensen produced the open source editor config language service. Yep. Code formatting and style requires this, but a NuGet package is being developed to allow for integration with build systems. I want it to break. No. That's the only one. Error? No. There's editing it. Troubleshooting editor config settings. Yeah. You can control the scope of your editor config by setting root equals true. Yep. So let's come back over here. Tools, options, text editor. Yeah, follow project coding conventions, but it's not breaking the build. Here we go. Stack Overflow question. Code style errors do not prevent build. I've said various to generate actual builds still succeed. Ah, you're looking for treat warnings as errors. Switch it from none to all. Make all code style warnings break the build. So actually we can drop in this property. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Oh no, we've broken Twitter now? Oh no. So, alright, let me come back to that comment. So this is a property group, right? When we look at the settings for our project, right? We have a property group that has the kind of the metadata about this. And there's things like the user secrets ID in there. And these are just properties that MS Build is going to carry along. And MS Build is called by the .NET command line. And then I've got an item group that has my package references. And then I've got my tools that I'm going to use when I'm in my development environment. Those don't get carried along to production. So now if I build, there we go, build failed, and right, so it's failing on this, right? So even if I say console out right line test, so now it's being used, but it's still going to fail the build. Ah! It should not have succeeded. Still there. Now I worry. So if I do a .NET build here, that succeeded. I didn't even get the warnings. So this is an editor feature, right? But that's funny. I thought it would. This is not the solution. Did not work. Furthermore, these are not warnings. They are outright errors. In the video link I'm trying to achieve, blah, blah, blah. Not implemented yet. Now tracked by a project over here. All right. It's just a bad link. Oh, where the heck is this? Flow the list of editor config files through the compiler front end. Create a build test to locate. Create build test to discover. Wow, look at this. Add notifications. So there's a lot of work here they're going to be doing on this. All right. Coming soon, it looks like. So, but it'll at least help you if you're paying attention to these things. All right. Maybe we can merge that pull request now. I'm just going to jump right into the StreamTools project here. So I closed the issue that we had for putting together an editor config file. So I don't need that anymore. But let's take a look at the pull request that we got from Bruno. Refactor to abstract multiple services, style, and SignalR. So there's a bunch of files in here. Let's take a look. So I see follower controller was changed, viewers controller, follower hub. So if I'm correct, yep. So you put together an iStream service interface, and each of the services, Mixer and Twitch, now implements that interface. All right. And now, yep, registering that one stream service, and we can pass that around. And where is it? I don't see stream service. Here it is. So right now, stream service takes in a Twitch service and a Mixer service, maintains a list of those services, and current follower count is a simple sum of the follower counts of the various services. Current viewer count is the sum of the current viewer count. Cool. And there is an event called updated, and nice. You're attaching to each one of the updated events of the child services, and if when we stop listening, we disconnect from all those updates. Very cool. All right. What did we do to Twitter? All right. I'm going to back out of Twitter. Let's see what GitHub status says. Fantastic. Thank you, GitHub. I should say thank you to GitHub, shouldn't I? That would be nice for me to do. Thank you at GitHub status for restoring service so promptly. Much appreciated. Gotta be a nice guy. Alright, there we go. Goodbye. I like what I'm seeing here. I want to take a look at this. Alright, so there's a slight conflict in the Twitch service. So add more commits by pushing to the feature SignalR branch on Bruno for its StreamTools. Alright. So, let me describe what I did here, because I pushed a change in to actually do a little bit of logging, because I think logging is pretty important that I'm not doing very well in this project. And then we'll do this merge. So the change that I put in, come here, there it is I started using a logger on the Twitch service and Mixer service. And I'm actually now receiving an iLogger factory when I create and use the Twitch service. And what this lets me do then is create a logger under a type of stream services. And when I get new information, I'll log that and it'll go out to the console. So I've already pushed this up, and I've already put it down on my production machine here so I can see what's going on. But I think this is going to be valuable for other folks who are running video streams, because now check this out. Here's what's in my console. So I can see, here's my Docker run to open it up and start listening, run the application, and I start logging information as soon as I'm connected to the services. Now monitoring with this number of followers, this number of viewers, now monitoring, blah, blah, blah. And then as I get more followers, new total. And as the number of followers changes, I'll just simply write that out here, and I'll get that information in a simple place on the console that's easy for me to see and easy for me to extend and log either to different locations or start logging additional information. So that little bit of information that I think is kind of helpful, and also because I'm a little bit paranoid about how my systems run, I'm happy to see being written out now to that console. So that's what I did by adding this, by adding the logger factory up here, okay? Now, when I added that, I needed to change how startup worked. In the startup, I was just saying new Twitch service and then adding it as a singleton. Well, I have to get the Logger factory service out of the service provider. Now, the service provider, that's my IOC container, right? That's the container that contains everything that I'm registering here. And before this configure services method is called, ASP.NET Core injects a number of things in it ahead of time for me, including information about the logger. So what I can do is I can create an interim service provider like I do here on line 34, and I can start injecting information by saying go get this object, and then using that as my logger. And now this feels bad. Uh-oh. I've broken something because check this out. On my production machine, I'm getting a JSON reader exception. Unexpected character encountered while parsing value. And this is parsing while trying to read get streamed by user async for Twitch. I wonder if I was trying to connect and get information from Twitch too much. I hope not. Let me try running that again. Let's see what happens. Because the check views method there is doing that thing on a timer where every 5 seconds it's checking to see how many folks are viewing. It looks like it's running properly. But this, right, the JSON deserialized that's going on here, where is it? Check views, Twitch service line 87. Let's see, where's that? Line 87. So it errored out here while it's checking the views. Does Twitch have an API limit to the open license? I don't know. And Isaac, I think that's I think that's a legitimate question. And we'll have to take a look at that. I'm not getting any errors here any longer. And my gadgets in the top corner are all refreshed and loading properly. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Beginner question, is there a way to tell the DI on ASP.NET Core to only inject into a specific service? So that's a little bit more advanced configuration where you want to say only inject the Twitch service into this specific location. Twitch is 1 request per second limited, and I'm requesting every 5 seconds, so I should be all right. Thanks for checking into that, Joe Bun. I appreciate that. But if you want to inject a specific instance of something, you're going to need a little bit more advanced, an advanced IOC container. So you can use something like Inject, or there's another one out there that's recommended that you can use. But there's a handful of them that you can use, and you can actually swap that in the startup, and they will let you. StructureMap is what I'm thinking of. StructureMap will let you do some things to specify and add some attributes to your classes to specify different things that you want injected correctly. Lexicon, each client ID is granted a total of 30 queries per minute if a bearer token is not provided, or 120 queries per minute if a bearer token is provided, across all Twitch API queries. If this limit is exceeded, an error is returned, HTTP 429. So it isn't clear to me if we got a 429 coming back based on that error code. But now I think I want to put some additional error logging there to perhaps output what came back in that error, in that response. So, since we added the logger here, what do you say we add that feature, and then we can log an error if we do catch an exception, and then it'll keep the application up and running, you know, we'll delay and we won't fetch and for another 5 seconds after that. We should be okay with that then. So, I'm not going to do this resolve conflicts right now, because actually I'm going to break it even a little bit further. Excuse me. So let's take a look at what exactly that error was that came back. It was a JSON reader exception coming back from, and it's internal to that v5 object. And it was, look at this. It's doing a move next on 87. Let's take a look at that. So over here on Twitch service, 87 here. So somewhere under the scenes here, it's doing this this move next, right? It's this JSON reader exception. So let's, yeah, I want to see what it returns. Can I do a postman of that API call? So that API call is actually buried underneath this streams object, and I'm not going to be able to access it directly. So I want to split this. See, I don't have a good split refactoring here. So this is a stream by user. So let's make this a stream by user. All right. Initialize that. And then I'll put a try around this. And we'll say my stream equals. And it was a JSON. Come on. I'm typing here. Oh no. There's that. It is a JSON reader exception. All right. So if I do get that exception, let's control dot so we get all of our using statements loaded in here. Yeah, I know. It's because I haven't used it yet. What information can we pull off of this? Line number, position, message, path, source, blah, 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 blah. So I have a feeling there's going to be an inner exception here with that HTTP. Or maybe even in the data dictionary. But you know what I'm going to do for right now? For right now, let's just write it out. And we'll write unable to read stream from Twitch. And hopefully our friend James has James Newton King, the writer behind JSON.net, will have some important information behind that exception that we can see. And I'll just do a simple return here. So if there's an error, write out what the error is, and then we'll get that. And because it's logged as an error, it should appear and be a little bit more friendly on my log console here. So, and I still don't have an error coming back. I have a feeling that was like a momentary hiccup, right? And to be able to build this service, to build this application, and have it connected to a service like Twitch and not have any retry or error handling logic, shame on me for not assuming that at some point we would get periodic hiccups and we weren't handling it. So I think that's pretty good for what I'm trying to do right there. And actually, I do that same thing here a couple different places. And I wonder if I should refactor that into a single method. Possible worst bracket style ever. Scaredy cat. What do you mean? My bracket style? What do you mean there, Nifix? What do you give me some more information? Don't leave me hanging on that. Oh. Let me check Twitter real quick, see if anything else has happened. You don't like how I have my curly braces on separate lines. Well, well, well. That's how I like it. Holy Wars, yes, I know. I know! This is actually a little bit of a Microsoft standards, how braces start on new lines. So, yes, Holy Wars, that's right, Isaac. I'm not doing anything to... I don't think we're doing anything to force that over here. Curly braces on new lines just to annoy Nifix. So there. Equals true. There we go. I think that'll work. Kidding. Totally kidding. Alright. Tabs versus spaces. VI Vim. Brackets and new lines. I know. Actually, I like to, where possible, when I'm thinking, and particularly when I'm showing code, I like to have spaces between my statements that have braces and my block. The statements inside my code blocks. I think it makes things a little bit easier to read. Right, so I'd really like to do that and this, and then a little bit like that, so that there's a little bit of room for the code to breathe. So, especially if you're using, right, I'm using a pretty large font here. I think I'm using 15-point font. Nope, I'm using 14. Little trick here that the boss showed me. 14 and 15 are actually the same size. Just the kerning, the space in between the letters, is a little bit bigger. So, just a little trick there. Makes it just a smidge easier to read. So if you ever watch any of the boss's videos, and I don't like to name drop, but when you see videos that my team builds, we try and use that 15-point console-less font. True fatal error. Best config name error. Thank you. Thank you. My brain gets fuzzy every time I see this. I'm sorry. Maybe should do an API load test to see if the same exception gets thrown. Now that's just mean, Duncan Kruger. That's mean. All right. So I've got a little bit of error checking there. My congestion from Tuesday is almost gone, but I've still got a little bit there in the back of my throat. I have glasses. Sometimes I'm using 15. I know. I'm on a full high def monitor here. This is 1920 by 1080, and I'm using 15 at 100% scaling, and it feels right sized to me, and I guess that means I'm getting old. People don't know Jeff's boss is head of some secret society. Yes, he is the head of the Red Shirt Speaker Society. That's why you'll see us wearing red shirts. Runs it out of the cafe. That's right. We all wear red golf shirts. That's the boss. I don't report directly to him, but occasionally he checks in on what I'm doing with ASP.NET. So control mouse wheel. I know I could do that. There, now it's the appropriate size for DJ Vortex. Kidding, totally kidding. Where's that view percentage? So when you do control mouse wheel, it actually affects just the zoom of this screen. Oh no, it's carrying it over to the others. I thought it was only doing the one screen, but it's the percentage down here. So I like to keep it at 100%. All right. So now I've got a little bit more error logging in here, and I'm feeling better about that. So, by popular request, I'm now running PowerShell here inside. Let me show you what I did here. So I just started normal DOS command prompt and started PowerShell, and I have PoshGit installed, which gives me a bunch of little Git helpful features here on the command line, like showing me here's a number of files that have changed that haven't been checked in. Everything that I have in this branch is synced with what's in the origin branch. That's what this little indicator means. And if I do git status, not only does it, I'm seeing what branch I'm on here, but there's the files that have changed that I can tinker with and push back in. I would just catch the exception and throw it into a black hell hole. Black hell hole. Ooh. Don't tell my boss. I want to know what it is because as a power user, as a developer, I want to fix it. So. Oh, the command replacement holy war incoming. Oh, in the next few weeks here, I'm going to actually start using Windows Subsystem for Linux. And we'll really get into a holy war because I'll start using tmux. Ooh, and I know that'll tick some people off. Oh, I'm not even going to get into. I'm not looking. What did I change on startup? Fritz, StreamTools, startup. Nothing. I put an extra space in there. Ugh. Fritz, StreamTools, reset that. Or somebody DDoS'd GitHub. Nice. What's the name again of the Git tool for PowerShell that I'm using? This is PoshGit. Let me browse and show you where that comes from. So you can install it from Chocolatey, but it's right here on GitHub. Easy to get and install, and it gives you all kinds of cool features here. So PowerShell get, install module, and it'll just install easy. So that's pretty cool. Or you can do Chocolatey. I think there's also an unzip that you can do to install it. So, pretty cool stuff. Alright, let me flip back over here. So I modified the CS proj to put that enforcement in there. I thought I reset startup. Alright. And I thought I want to unstage those changes. Right? I can't. Why isn't it? Right? Is it checkout? No. If I do a reset hard, I can't do that and pass in the files that I want. Does not touch the index file or the working tree. This leaves all your changed files as git status. No. Resets the index and working tree. Any changes or tracked files in the working tree are... No. I just want to drop those files and get the latest. One thing that annoys me about PowerShell, I keep using Control-D to close session due to habit, and all it gets me is a nice, !D. Yeah, so just type exit, right? If I do a git checkout, right, startup, there we go. And I can do the same thing with editor config, because I didn't change that. Cool. So now I'll commit those two. Added logging for Twitch views error. Cool. I'm going to git push that. And then we'll do the merge with Bruno's code here. Yep, going to check to make sure. And it's going to, of course, come back and say, no. Okay. You know what? Let's open this. Not in GitHub desktop. Bad. Command line instructions. Let's do this. PoshGit in the UK is a social connotation. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm going to check out and start working with Bruno's code here. So for my project repository, check out a new branch and test the changes. So let's do that. Right? Do this by hand because that's the way cool folks do this. And I'm going to git pull Bruno's changes into this branch. So now I have his changes here locally, and you can see there's the conflict. There it is, right there. Both modified. Right, so now I can fix that. So let's do this. I like to do that, the fix on these in Visual Studio Code because it shows it so nicely. Ooh, where'd that come from? Why is there still a Fritz rundown project in here? That's a problem. Right, is it doing anything? No, it's not. Alright, I'm going to ignore that for now. Alright, Fritz, StreamTools. Let's clear that. And where's the file at? It is down in Services. And I'll just run Visual Studio Code directly against the Twitch service. And now I should. There it is. You can see. Well, no, you can't see because the bar is up here. There it is. So here's the change that we need to resolve. So the incoming change has just configuration, but my change has iConfiguration and Logger. And as Bruno told us in the chat room earlier, he actually changed the configuration to a private object. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of merge both changes. So I'm going to accept the current, and I know that he's flipping it to private. So actually, let's accept the current. That'll give me the head one. And then I'm going to flip this to private. So now I have the best of both comparisons, both files here. So I save that. I'll close. And let's do another git status. So now I'll add Twitch service. Fantastic. So now everything is there. Merge the changes and update on GitHub. All right, so I checked it out. I think I need to commit that, right? So let's commit merged Bruno's changes. Fantastic. And you know what? I feel like I want to rebase that together. Right? Yeah, let's do that. Head tilde 2. There we go. So it's giving me that's not where I wanted to be. Ugh. Now I've done it. No. I want to abort that. Git rebase abort. All right. I'm just going to let it go the way it is. And now I'm going to go back over to my feature SignalR branch, and I'm going to merge these changes. Okay. And here we go. So git merge, no fast forward. Just bring over those changes. There it is. Cool. So it brought in all of those changes, and I'm going to push them back up into the project. Done. And now it's pushed and merged, and GitHub sees it, and everything's cool. Thanks for the contribution. Looks great. I don't need to write it here because I know Bruno's there watching. Thanks so much, Bruno. I really appreciate it. And everybody can see it here now, too. So that's cool. Thank you. So this is a good refactoring that I think I was kind of begging for. You know, I started running into this as soon as I had more than one service that I was trying to update data for. And having this unified stream service object feels like the right place to have this. And I'm actually going to, pardon me, but I'm going to add a couple spaces here just to make it a little bit easier to read. I don't think I need any kind of comment around this. But I do think I want to put a comment around the updated just to make it a little bit clearer what this thing is. So, event raised when the number of followers or viewers changes. That's easy. Tabify. Thank you. So let's see. All right. And did you do anything? I didn't think you did anything with the current viewers page yet, did you? Nope, nothing there yet. Okay. DJ Vortex, I don't think it's an accident. Uh-oh. What did I miss? P.S. I was... okay. Yeah, the connotation of PoshGit, yeah. Alright. So the change that you made over here for the follower, not in the model. Bad place. It was in the views for followers. For the goal. It's receiving the follower goal. Where was it that we made that change? Was it in the count? The model's just an int. I'm going to get rid of this while I'm here. Only changed views count. Viewers count. Or viewers current? So viewers and then model, and the model is just an int. Okay, so this is just okay. I got it. So this was something we started tinkering with, just to see if we could get the. And actually, right, I had copied followers to start doing this, but really I want to have that widget like I have in the top corner there. Yeah, and I think. I think, Bruno, I'm going to end up moving away from this because I want to have the various little gadgets in the corner with it, the icons for the service. So we'll clean that up. We'll get that in. But count, I removed that extra JavaScript. Let's remove this now. Don't really need that. But I want an extra space in here. All right. Oh, look at this. Right, we want to get rid of, this should be a var here. Oh, fix that. That's better. There's another one down here. See the red in the gutter. So we'll just change that. That feels better. Alright. I also feel like I want to put labels around some of these things here because it's getting a little bit unwieldy in my configure services. Let me just take a quick look here. I'm going to do a git commit. Cleaned up some spacing. That's fine. Whatever. Alright. Now, my friend Scott Allen sees this configure services method here, and we start to run into a problem with the single responsibility principle. And the single responsibility principle says there should only ever be one reason that a class file changes. And there's way too much going on here now for this configure services method to be just in this one place here. and it's getting a little unwieldy. So just to make this a little bit easier, and so that I'm not modifying this important startup CS file that's kind of critical to how ASP.NET Core starts up and is running, I'm going to create a folder here and just start moving some of this into that location. And you know what? I could actually put it right on the root. Let me create a folder, and I'm going to call the folder. I'm going to call it startup for right now. Let's create a class in there. Add class, and I'll call it configure services. And I'm just going to put one. I'm going to make this a static class. And I'm going to create a single method in here, public void execute, and to make sure that it lines up, I'm going to receive the same iCollection services over here. Now, I'm also receiving configuration here, so I should probably receive that as well. Let's have it with the same syntax there, and we'll generate some using statements. Cool. And, oh, gotta make this static too. So let's do this. There we go. So now I can move all of this here. Okay. And I'm gonna need to get some using statements into the mix here. Into the mix. Yep. Okay, that should just about do it. And we can get rid of this comment. That's not bad. So now I can just say configure services. Startup, configure services. Ah, come on. It's actually going to be Fritz, StreamTools, startup, configure services. Let's do this. Using... Oh, look at this. I've got a naming conflict. So let's actually rename this then to startup services. That should help. All right. So now I could say startup services, configure services, services, and configuration. Oops. Execute. All right. So now I've got it migrated out. It's somewhere else. And when I go to configure this, when I want to go to change this, it's all in one place. Right, and then I can even do things like, just to get a little bit more grouping here, configure streaming services. Right? And I can take in the same arguments if I want. And then I can move all of that down here. And I can say configure. Ugh. There we go. Services and configuration. So now it's a little bit clearer what the various pieces of this are doing. Right? I'm not sold on this one down here yet. I don't need to move that out somewhere yet. And it doesn't actually build this until later. Right, if I grab these and move them down, I could refactor these into let's verify that we're working properly still before I go and do more refactoring. Does this refactoring make sense? Viewers, are you following me in the purpose behind moving these things so that it's a little bit easier to track? Right, it's a little bit easier to maintain, and you see it in the appropriate place for these things. Yeah, there it is, going out to Twitch TV. So we're looking pretty good there. It's a good refactor. All right. Refactor seems to make sense. Yeah, I feel like when you get to a certain size with this statement in your startup class, it's too much. The startup is too unmaintainable at that point, right? So let's move it somewhere else. And then at some point, because I'm passing in interfaces here, I could actually unit test this. Right? I could pin down these features and say we need to ensure that these things are loaded in order for the application to run. So I think I'm okay here. I'll just do that one more refactoring here. Grab these and extract that, and we'll call it configure ASP.NET features. And just to make sure that these are kind of in a relative place to where they're called from up here, I'll line it up below. Okay. So now, to me, this looks a little bit more consumable, right? Startup CS grows quickly, grows big, so yeah, okay. Glad to see that you're on the same page with me. Good. All right. And I don't think I need any extra comments here because I think this code is pretty descriptive of what it's doing. So let's commit those couple changes. So I'll add the startup services folder. Feels bad. Come on now. Oh, it's up a folder. That's what my problem is. There we go. I should probably be living up here. Looks good. Refactored startup CS into smaller classes. Yeah. And I could do that with partial classes as well. But I think this is a good modification. Cool. Right? Have you seen partial classes? Do you know what I'm talking about when I refer to that? The idea is where we have public class startup here, I could actually say public partial class startup, and I could create another file over here and call this startup configure services, and make this a partial class, right? and actually do this. Right? Now it's over here. It's visible to the other half of startup, but it's in a separate file. And I kind of agree with what you're saying there, Amir, is that it gets to be a little messy. Because now I don't see the other parts of this class, and I have to go find it. Right? How do I get to that other half? Visual Studio will put them under each other. They're not really under each other. They won't show up in the Class Explorer. Right, so if I open the... not Solution Explorer, where is it? Right, if I open... Where is it? Where is it? Great for generated code. Yes. I do agree this is great for generated code. When you look at class view... No, wrong one. Why is it showing me... I don't want it showing me there. I'm looking for class view over here. And it's not showing me. Ugh. Anyways. So, I'm not a fan of this. I'd rather have it in very structured locations. Yeah. Errant mouse. And I'm going to delete this extra file. It's back there behind my head. So I'm back to just a startup CS. Alright. Let's see now. So I've got that refactored. This is a little bit more readable. I'm happy with that. The current viewers... Yeah, I was saying to Bruno, I think we're going to end up removing the viewers current. Because, where's it? Controllers. I have a viewers controller here. Yeah, this is nice how it's refactored and easy to see. But I think I'm going to end up moving away from this and just having a Razor page out there for this. In the chat room, Bruno says, if we do have a class to handle multiple services, does it make sense to have Mixer and Twitch services being injected through the DI? Would it look bad if we instantiate in Stream Service Constructor? Or use MEF? Maybe you use SignalR to rewrite Skype. So SignalR was rewritten, was used to help build Jabber, right? That was an online chat room that actually did a lot of things that Slack does. But it was written with .NET, and it was written about 4 or 5 years ago. Which is about a year or two before Slack hit the market. Alright, so the question is, inside my services object here, inside this aggregate stream service object, and I'm going to add some spaces in here, Bruno, just to make it a little bit more readable for me. That's fine. And check this out. We got the little indicator here that this collection initialization can actually be simplified. And we can just do that. Now that's pretty cool. Here's why we want to still use the dependency injection, right? Add braces to the for each statement. Yep, let's do that. Add braces, just to make sure that's easy and nobody trips over it. Don't worry about it. Okay, so the reason that we need to register these is the flip side of these services is not only are they an iStream service, but they're an iHosted service. Now, an iHosted service, when it's registered with the dependency injection container here as a singleton, this will indicate and tell ASP.NET Core, start this class up and run it in the background on a different thread. So it fires the start async method and it just leaves it out there and maintains it. And then when we stop the ASP.NET service, it'll call the stop async method before it goes and cleans it up. So we do need to register it with the service. And I could see... Well, let's think about this for a second here. I could see somebody else using this tool and saying, you know what, I don't have a mixer configuration. So don't configure mixer for me. So while I really like these blocks here, I think we want to put an if statement around them to check to make sure that there is a service. To make sure that there's a... Is it the client ID? What's the setting in there? Yeah, skip this service. Right, we want to tell it, skip this. I don't use this thing. So I feel like if there is no section with that name, don't go and create it. What do you think? I think that's fair. So use reflection to find all I-hosted services. We could do that. Well, we don't have to use reflection. We can actually reach into the service provider directly and say, give me all the services, right? Check this out, right? Let's just create some scratch code here, right? I can say get services, right? And I can say I stream service, and it returns an IEnumerable of stream services. Cool, right? So that's not bad at all. And that's a service provider, so I could we do this? All right, so I'm over here, not that one. I'm over here in the aggregate stream service, and let's just tinker with this and play with this for a minute. Instead of receiving Twitch service and Mixer service, if instead we received IEnumerable stream service, and we just called it services, right? Then we could refactor this and say services equals services. Huh? Now, why is that? Oh, because it's a list. All right, to list. Cool. And actually, I think, can we make this an IEnumerable? Yeah, because we're not adding or removing anything from it now. If we're just setting it to that collection, let's see. Using MEF, startup does not need to know anything about the services at all. That's interesting. Let's try building this and let's see what happens. So I'm actually going to do it here on the command line. Let's not git. It's not git build and it's not Docker build. It's .NET build. Yeah. All right. Oh. And now monitoring Twitch. Now monitoring Mixer. So I didn't change anything. Let's see if it comes back. If it loads properly over here. No. Didn't get that. Need to study about Meph. Noted for later. Meph might be dead. I don't know. Meph isn't dead, but I don't think Meph's in .NET Core. Excuse me. So it didn't bring in the entire collection of services. Right? Even though I requested a full collection of services, let's go back to configure services. So that's all configured and added, and we added this. Meph is in .NET Core. Oh, okay. There you go. But it's limited. I'm not surprised. So why didn't it inject the collection? I mean, if I put... It feels weird to put service provider here. Right? And then say service provider. Ugh. No. I want that one. Yes. And then get services. Karulu94. Thank you for the follow. Did it come in? So Karulu, we're writing a little bit of a service here to see. It didn't log that you've started following over here. To monitor and follow the streams and indicate what's going on here. But there it goes. New follower on Twitch 309. There we go. And then so the number should update up here on the top of the stream, and that should go to 411, right? We should see that update. Refresh cache. I think that's what happened, is that my cache here is stale. There it goes. All right. Logs. Yeah, it's good to have logs now. So welcome Karulu, and thank you for helping. You helped us test. So, all right. Let's see. Maybe we need to add singleton iStream service mixer service. See now, but if I do a get services over here, iStream service, right? It'll just get that stuff and drop it off here, right? And then if I .NET run that, that time of the day for me. See you on Saturday. All right, catch you later, DJ Vortex. Good seeing you here today. There we go. Start it up. It's monitoring, and I'll refresh over here. Unable to resolve service for type service provider. Oh, feels bad. Oh, feels bad. Yeah, look at that. Kaboom! Alright. It would feel weird, but I see where you're going. If I did add singleton iStream service. Right? Then do I need this one? Right, so now if I restart, let's see what happens here. My Mac keeps hibernating over here. Come on. All right. Nothing new over there. Good. Keep it quiet. So that looks legit. Let's refresh over here. Oh. Oops. I'm still receiving the wrong one here. Yep. Choked. I'm going to do a .NET Watch run. So Watch is a tool that I added It's available from the standard .NET repositories, from the standard NuGet repository, that will automatically restart the web service every time I change a file. So that feels good. That feels easy. So now if I receive an IEnumerable of iStream service called services, and we just line this up. Now because I saved that file, check that out, it sees a file change and it's restarting the web server. So that's a nice feature that you can add on to your .NET project. There we go, so it's restarted, and I'll refresh this page, and hopefully we don't get a server error, and we get our followers. Fantastic. Does my followers goal work? So goal is 500, and meeting with peeps, whatever text I want to have there. That looks like it's working. No client method with name on viewers count updated found. Okay, that's fine. I think this looks good. I think I'm happy with these changes. So that simplifies things, and we have our services being pushed around and managed as units. And now I don't have to push information about those specific services into my user interface endpoints. Carrie, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. And once again, thank you, Steve. Always a pleasure seeing you. Buy the book, Steve. I'll even sign it for you. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I have a trip out to Redmond at the end of the month, and no way would he come find me. He's probably in LA right now with the Clippers anyway. Anyways, where was I? So the controllers, did we already refactor these so that they're receiving a stream service? Yes. Cool. And it should be the same thing over here with the viewers controller. And the viewers controller, I think we're going to... I think I'm going to end up getting rid of this. Oh, the restart on change. Yes. So the watch feature over here, right? Just in case you haven't seen how this is configured, that is, and I'll make sure I put it in the blog post. It's another item here in your config file. We don't have a way for you to do this through the user interface in Visual Studio, but you just add another .NET CLI tool reference. It's called Microsoft.NET Watcher Tools, and then you grab the appropriate version. Bruno says, now we need to add a property to retrieve numbers per service for the new UI I'm building. All right, so that's how you configure this. Now let's talk about Bruno's comment there. So the stream service does this great job of aggregating the total current viewer count and the total current follower count. But it does a crappy job of showing us the individual services for each stream, right? The individual numbers for each stream. Great point, Bruno. So maybe we can add a collection here to return, right? And let's call it an IEnumerable. Dare I say, let's make it an IEnumerable of a tuple type. Oh, I'm loving my C# 7.1 features right now. Service as a string, and then count as an int. Right? How's that look? Now wait a sec. Let's call this count by service. All right. And for right now, we'll just return this, that, and actually, I need it to be a new array of those. Ah! Go away! I want this to be an anonymous array. All right, what am I doing wrong here? Right, that should be a tuple. requires one type argument, and it doesn't like my type argument here. Right? I should be able to just do string int. Okay, that worked. But I thought, is it like this? And now it's going to get choky. What am I doing backwards? This needs one of those. That works. I want to use the tuple feature. What's the matter with my C# tuple? All right, the value tuples. No, this one. Right, yeah. It's the name, colon, and then... yeah, right? I should be able to just do that. Service. Count. And it doesn't like it. Assignment and tuples. All right. Now I want to call one of my colleagues. Where's my friends on the Where's my friends on the languages team? Right, I should be able to return an IEnumerable. Oh, look at that. So I've done it kind of backwards. Alright, hang on. Hang on. So it should be string service count. There we go. That's what I was doing wrong. Of course. Alright. So let's fix that spacing. Cool. Alright. So now to return that, I'm just going to do services select new. Now go away. I'm going to need to pass in a S object. I'm going to return S dot. Oh, I thought the service had a name attached to it. Huh. Alright, let's extend this and let's put a property on it. Look at that, Bruno. There's some credit for you. String name. Just so I can easily grab the name and I don't have to do some reflection and monkey with the name of the class, right? And kind of expect that. Public string get restarted. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. And we'll just call this aggregate. Right? I'm missing the name label. There we go. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so now I should be able to say, why didn't Mixer Service light up and say it didn't know what it was? Do I already have a name property here? Here we go. Easy. Now let's go back over to Twitch and do the same thing. Comparo. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. That's very cool over there on Twitch. Oh my gosh. Scary Harry. Thank you. My favorite new C# feature is the underscore in numbers. Oh, yes. That is very cool. Let's take a look at that. CS Andreas. Hi, what are you currently doing now that I have just joined? So we're doing a little bit of refactoring. Oh my gosh, Paul Okuna. Thank you for following. It sounds like there's a group of folks out there that are all just finding us. That's great. So we're doing a little bit of refactoring of our ASP.NET Core project here to simplify and abstract away interacting with each one of the services. So as you know, I stream to both Mixer and Twitch. I want to, from my user interface components, and right now I have two components that I particularly use, right? The goal bar that you see up at the top, and then on the right side there, the followers count. I want to make sure that those, I want to make sure that I interact with all the services generically, and I'm not tightly coupled to Twitch or Mixer specifically. So I'm adding some features, and we've abstracted away, right? We've added this interface called Stream Service. Actually, we didn't. Bruno, I guess we all did this, but Bruno particularly wrote the code around Stream Service and submitted a pull request to define, here's the common things about these, and to start doing a little bit of this refactoring. Make it easier to have these features out here. So there's the name property, and I just need a name for these so I can reference them generically. So there's Twitch, and now the Twitch service is outputting that its name is Twitch. Now, this will be beneficial if in the future, say, Mixer is renamed back to Beam. Mixer was originally named Beam, now it's named Mixer. Whatever. But if they change the names of these things, I'll be able to change that string in one place, and I can still leave these classes with the same names, and it'll hopefully just work. So now when I want to get the count, so you see the viewer count there in the very top right corner. It's got 33 on Twitch right now, 10 on Mixer. I want to return a collection of the names of those services and the counts so that I can accurately report those in the corner there. Now, this feature that I'm using right here, this is in C# 7, we introduced value tuples, right? So this is a very quick type that I've introduced just to carry these two values, and it's expecting there to be a string and an integer. Now you could do this with the tuple class previously, but it was a full class, and you had to pass around this strongly typed object, where this is a value. So when you think back to your computer science, the tuple class that we previously had was a reference type, right? So that would go on the heap. We would have to do different garbage collection to manage that. Since this is a value, it goes on the stack and takes up a little bit less memory, and we can reclaim that much, much quicker with our garbage collection. So as something that is literally just a throwaway, pass this number out and then discard it, I'm pretty comfortable with just having this little value tuple that we're going to pass around. So to return this collection, I'm going to return, for the first argument, it's going to be the service name, now that I have that property, and then the count is going to be current viewer count. Done. Right? I need to put a return in front of that. That's easy. Simple select statement to return that, and that should make this count by service available so that now when I go into my Razor page that we started writing last time to show that current number of viewers that's in the top corner, right now I'm returning a current viewers model. I have this object called current viewers model, which is kind of, it's a page model. It's something that sits next to my Razor page, and it'll do some of the work for me. Instead of receiving a Twitch service and a Mixer service, I'm going to receive a Stream service, right? And I'll just call it Stream service. And I'll just store that. I'll get rid of these objects. I don't need these, right? And I'll just say this dot stream service equals stream service. Now I need to have that property actually defined, so let's create that. Control period generates that for me, and I've got that there. So now on my current views Razor page, where I format and output this information, where I have the Twitch count, right, I can say model Stream service. And instead of saying current follower count or current viewer count, I can go count by service, right? And then I could say first, and this is actually going to be a little messy, isn't it? Right? Count by service is a property. Let's think about this. Because if I say count, I would love to be able to say count by service Twitch. What I'd really like to do. Ooh. Light bulb. Check this out. Forget what I was writing there. Let's do a for each. We'll call this a service in model. Stream service, count by service. So now, this service object is that collection of service and count by serve and count. You know what? I can even do an order by on this. Let's just leave it the way it is right now. I should probably do an order by. Yeah. Let's order by the service. Let's make it order by descending so Twitch appears first. Okay. So now, here we go. Check this out. It's like I planned this or something. Let's take this and use this as an example. I'm using Alt up and down to move this around. So let's put that right there. And the name of the service, we'll just put that right there. Now I don't want to put the colon right up against it. I want to switch that back to... This should be at service dot service. I get the service name. And then I want to put that colon, but colon's kind of a reserved thing here. If I put text, my hard text indicator around it, right, that kind of forces Razor to indicate that that's text. And then the name of my span is actually going to be at service dot to service to lower invariant count. And now inside my span is just service count. What do we got here? I see a whole bunch of things going on out there. Just checking. Cool. All right. If you wrap your service with parens, does it change the greedy behavior of the at? I think you're right. Right, so it's greedy. It wants to grab this colon, put it right up. No, looks like it's going to keep it right there. Good thought. And there was a way to do an escape with the at sign, but it's not doing it properly for me. So now, for my total, how do I put the total at the end? I still want to use the word total, and I can still use total count, but what I can do here is I can do a trick kind of like we saw, I can say models, stream service, count by service, sum, right? And we're going to pass in that, and we're going to just sum the count. Fantastic. I think it works. I think it's going to work. Let's take a look over here. And actually, I haven't changed any code in a little bit, so I can just navigate right to current viewers. Yes! So now I've completely abstracted away any reference to Twitch or Mixer here, and as we decide to bring new services online like YouTube or Facebook Live or Twitter Periscope, they'll just appear here as we configure those new services. And I did just see that 33 flip to a 32. Feels bad, I lost somebody, but cool. Now, what didn't happen, the total didn't update. And that's because all I'm doing right now is just updating that one value. Maybe we put a class on this also. Right? We call this service count. And then I can come down here, I can say var current counts equals document get elements by class name. Haha. Service count. And now I've got this collection. Right, it's an HTML collection of those elements. So then the sum equals, let's start it with 0. So then we can say I less than current counts dot length. I could do it with a for each, but I'm feeling like just a for var loop. So I could say total count plus equals parse int current counts 0 dot text contents. Put a 10 on the end of that. That feels easy. And then I can say the total count. Where is it? This one. So document get element, not by class name, get element by ID, total count, text content equals total count. $72! That's wrong. That's way wrong. That's a lot. I'm adding too many. Because I'm constantly adding the 0 with. Oops. Let's see if that changes here while we're watching. Come on, somebody else start watching. Come on. I just want to see some numbers change for me. Is that so wrong? And I'm not seeing the numbers change. But I think I'm up against. Checking my calendar here to see what my schedule looks like here this morning. Yeah, I've got a window here for a little bit so I can grab some lunch. There we go, it's updated to 45. Fantastic. CS Andreas, you are building some functionality for Twitch if I am right. Couldn't you just do it with PHP? I could do it with PHP, but I'm a .NET developer. So I'm using .NET. And it helps me learn how to integrate and use their APIs. I'm learning how to use SignalR, and I'm advancing my JavaScript interaction a little bit here. How about using reduce to build the viewer sum? Oh, what does that statement look like? A JavaScript reduce. You're right. So I've got an array, and I can reduce with a callback function. So let's take a look at what that looks like. I think you're right. It sounds like that would be a great way to do this quickly. So the reducer is taking in an object here, and it's just doing a sum. So it's saying just this array.reduce. That looks pretty easy to do. So I'm actually just going to grab and try and do that exact same thing here. I'm actually going to put it up here. Right? I think that works. And current value. Versa Y, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. So it's just passing in, you know, here's the current value to start with. So let's do that. So the accumulator is, yeah. So I should be able to say, instead of this for loop here, let's just comment that out. So I should be able to go current counts dot is current counts isn't an array. It's an HTML collection of. So we might have a problem with it running. Right? JavaScript reduce on an HTML element collection, because it's not gonna, it's not, yeah, because it's not an array. I think it's gonna choke on me. Convert HTML elements collection to array. I don't think there's a to array to convert an HTML collection, so I can do array prototype slice call HTML collection. Let's try that. So we should be able to do this. Let's call this element array equals that. And it was current counts. So now I should be able to say EL array reduce. Right, was it? Right, so it's my array reduce and then my reducer function and then the initial element there. That looks like it's working. Cool. Well, actually, hang on. The total is... Right, that total is only being calculated when there's a new viewer or we lose a viewer. Ah, there we go. That's a problem. All right, hang on. Let's go back here. So that's returning a collection. So my reducer shouldn't be accumulator versus. So the accumulator is the object that I'm receiving. Right. So this is an HTML element. So I need to say text content. I'm going to need to do that as a parse int just to make sure we get an integer. And that should work. So I'm not making the API call. That's right here. This is a function that we've declared for SignalR on the server to call when the value changes. Okay? So on the server, it's doing that interaction and it's managing the connection with our services, and it'll pass that information back to us. Let's see if we can get that number to change for us. And see, it feels weird having to wait for somebody to either join or stop watching. Not working. All right. Let's move this out and let's do this. Even though it's kind of broken here, let's do this in our JavaScript console. So if I do array prototype slice call, and I'll call the document get elements by class name, right? Document get elements by class name, and I know you can't see it. I will move that. There we go. Since we're doing a little bit of JavaScript programming here. So I do get an array, and it's these two elements, right? So now if I do that same thing, and I grab the 0th item, and I ask for the text content, I get the value 34, which, there it is. That's the correct value coming back. And then if I wrap that with a parse int, right? Now I get the value 34. Okay. So that looks correct. So I think there's a problem in how I have the reducer method configured here. So the accumulator, right? That's the thing that's being passed in here. So I'm trying to say accumulator text content, right? Going based on our reduce sample that we're trying to learn from over here. This should, right? The accumulator is each individual element, right? So accumulator should be, accumulator is the sum, is the current sum. Then current value what's being passed in, right? So it looks like I need to just move this simple array from instead of that slice call. Okay, let's take a look at that. Give me just a second here. Let me flip that. Come back over here. Refresh. So you're saying array dot from, and it was document get element by class name service count. That works too. And I'm getting a not a number coming back now. All right. So let me get rid of this, and I will turn this into an array from. That's not bad. Well, it's not going to be able to parse that. This should be text content, because that'll be an HTML element. Right? Let's see here. So that's refreshed. So for those of you that haven't seen this before, Visual Studio 2017 has a feature built into it called Browser Link that will automatically refresh my page when I make changes in the editor. And it's not updating my total properly there. Okay. What's going wrong here? Oh. If accumulator is the total, right? Then you have to remove the property call from the accumulator. Yes. So let's see if that works now. Hey, there we go. All right, so what did we learn? So instead of doing this for loop, to just do a sum across these things, we did a reduce, right? We did a map reduce. We declared a function that's going to do the work for us, right? So we put it in one place here. It takes two parameters. The first parameter is the current thing we're aggregating against, right? The second parameter is the current element in the array that we're iterating over. And I'm just saying, take that value and go find that HTML element's text content, turn it into an integer, sum the two, and keep going. So, right, it'll grab, what, in this case it'll grab the 32, sum it with 0. Accumulator starts off with 0 because it's a 0th object. And then it'll just output. So actually, do I even need that there? Right, yep, I saved. So, simple, effective, but less number of lines of code. Oh, that didn't work. So I do need to have that initializer that it's a 0 in there. That's fine. So actually, so it's reduce, the callback function, and then the previous value. The callback function is the format of previous value, and then, well, that's the current value. Right? Oh, and then comma, and then the initial value is 0. So the initial value that's being passed in to accumulator, right, because that's the previous value, and then the current value is an element in this case. Cool. You have to remove the property call. Did that. I want your thoughts about PUBG. Seriously, how unoptimized is that? So PUBG, that's the player unknown battlegrounds game that you see on Mixer. It's on Mixer a lot. Folks on Twitch are playing it also. But it's really picked up a lot of speed. It's an independently developed game. Really neat first-person shooter. And you know what? These folks are publishing quickly, and they're trying to keep up with the pace at which the community wants to play their game. I applaud them for being able to build and deploy this so quickly. But I think you're right. There's optimizations they're going to need to go through at some point here, just so they can keep up with the demand. I mean, congratulations to them. They're a real success as an independent developer. Right, PUBG is independently developed. Right. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. Yeah, from Bluehole. It's a subsidiary. So really neat to see. PUBG is weird. Run around for 10 minutes finding stuff, then die, repeat. Yeah. There's a lot of people in there, and people get frustrated. Very frustrated, very salty quickly when people are playing this first-person shooter and they don't have a good experience. All my Destiny 2 friends migrated to it. Well, come on back to Destiny 2, and the folks at Blizzard will be more than happy to have you on the PC. I think that's all I want to do today. We've simplified a lot of the interactions. We did a bunch of really great refactoring. Thank you, Bruno, for your work simplifying our interactions. And because we have that very clear definition of the aggregate stream service over here, we're able to quickly and easily build this for loop and do this reduce that will output that current number of viewers without having to know specifics about those individual folks, those individual services that are in there. So when we do bring on the next service, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, we don't have to change anything. So it's good and bad at the same time. Now, let me go back to GitHub here. So at some point here, I do want to put that if statement around. You know what? Let's just do it now. I want to put that if statement around whether or not we have configuration for different services. So inside not stream service. Stream service doesn't know about the different services. It just knows about a definition of services. Let me just add into configure services just to check down here on the configuration. So here's where it's building that Twitch service. So let's just say if configuration, And then I should be able to say stream services Twitch. And then I think it's client ID. Nope, wrong place. Here. Client ID. And I want to... Is it a... Yeah, that's the format. So if string is null or empty... And this... Oh, I don't have a logger here yet. Let's just turn this around. I can get rid of this too. Right? Then I can put a similar if statement around the mixer configuration. Cool. And it's not Twitch client ID, it's going to be mixer client ID. So we'll do that. Spell it right. If you start using YouTube too, the following count will go through the roof, but so might the comment spam. Maybe. Maybe. Could be. So this should now check to see if the client IDs are there before it decides to add them into the project. So now I changed the C# file. My watch is reloading here. It's loading Twitch. It's loading Mixer. Cool. And I think this could even be simplified a little bit with a little bit of a for loop there with some reflection. I don't know. Yeah. You know what? Let's think about that refactoring next time. I'm not completely sold on it. I like the way that this works right now. It's in one place. I mean, heck, if I could extract this and call this configure Twitch. Configure Mixer. Right? That's not too bad at all. There we go. I think that's pretty readable. Extra line. Extra line. Good. Not bad. I can work with that. So let's commit those changes. No, stop. Cool. So I am going to commit refactored so that UI does not know of specific streaming services. So then as we add services, they'll just light up and it'll be pretty cool at that point. So I'll git push those updates. There we go. We're cleaned up. And I think that's going to do it for our stream for today. Thanks so much, everybody who watched and followed along today. We're getting closer and closer to our follower goal. There's 42 folks out there right now watching. I know we had live at one point more than 50 people watching. That's great. I love seeing that. But if you have some friends that'd be interested in this, if you have some topics that you'd like to know a little bit more about around .NET, around Visual Studio, drop me a line. We'll, you know, you can use my Twitter account up there, C#Fritz. We'll answer your questions here on the stream. I'm going to reach back to Glenn, see how he's doing, see if we can get him rescheduled for sometime, maybe next week. I'm working with Sarah Dukowitz. I believe I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Carrie, you can correct me on that if you're still out there watching. But Sarah's going to join us, and we're going to talk about usability here sometime after Code Mash. Because right now, getting through and finding some of these features in this is it's a little bit tricky. It's not clear exactly how you do these things. And I want to make it a little bit easier for whoever my prospective users are. I want to make it easier for them to find and use these things. So, Dukevich. There you go, Dukevich. Sarah Dukevich, or Saduki, yep. Let me reload that. But she does a lot of work around web usability. I'd love to get her input about where we can put some menus, some easy ways to jump around the different features we have here in the project. And of course, there's a couple issues out here if you want to open some issues. If you want to submit a pull request, just like Bruno did today. Particularly, there's this great suggestion that we had from Kirk DMO to change the color, right? Let's make the color of the goal bar change as we get closer and closer to the goal. This is something that might be fun and easy to build. If you'd like to contribute some code, we'll talk about and work on your pull request on a future stream. So we're gonna have Sarah join us. Maybe not next week, probably the week after. We'll see how we can get that fit in. And I've also got Myra Wenzel from the Docs team. We're locking on a time to have her come on, and we'll talk about contributing to the Microsoft documents. It used to be the old MSDN documentation, because we've written a lot around our configuration builders here, but there's no docs about how to use, no examples around how to use these configuration builders, not mine specifically, but configuration builders in .NET 4.7.1. So we'll talk to her and we'll see how we can integrate our documentation, how to submit a pull request, and what that process looks like from not just an author's point of view, like me, but also from the editor's point of view, and how that process works. I know there's a lot of folks out there that are interested in documentation, and maybe you'll be interested in how that works. And of course, if you contribute to the Microsoft Docs, you show up as a contributor out there, and that might look really good on a resume to an employer. On your LinkedIn profile, you get that little badge that says, I contribute to the official Microsoft documentation. So thanks so much, everybody, for joining. As always, take a look on GitHub. Fritz Livestream is where you can ask your questions. You can learn more about what we were working on. I'll have a blog post up later today. The recording, of course, will get syndicated out to YouTube in a little bit. But I really appreciate all of you joining me. And I'll see you on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I think that's 1 p.m. UTC. So we'll see you then. Thanks so much.